What's up guys, Mr. Bazy here, and today I'm going to bring you my initial impression of Advanced Warfare. And today I just have some background gameplay. I first want to apologize because I wanted to have my very first game ever on Advanced Warfare in this discussion video. However, something happened in the file. I don't know whether it got corrupted or what, but when I went to go check on it, it ended up being just an audio file. So I'm not sure what happened with that, but that's not the point because we're going to get into this video anyway, and hopefully you enjoy the background gameplay while we do it. So first off, we're going to do the maps on Advanced Warfare. Now, this is one of the most crucial things for me, and there are two parts to this, particular topic. One of which is the map design. And I have to say, ever since I started playing this game, I have not had a single moment where I didn't enjoy playing on the maps. Now, that might sound like a fanboy response, but there's something that some of you don't know about me is I'm actually not a huge, just die-hard Call of Duty fan. As a matter of fact, I was getting very sick of Call of Duty, and, I was really looking forward to Master Chief Collection, which I still am, but, I was really looking forward to that, and that was going to be the thing that kind of saved me from my boredom, you know what I mean? But this, the maps on this really, really surprised me. There are two aspects, like I said, the first being the map design. And now what I mean by this is the layout, the potential for competitiveness, and I know that's not a big factor for everybody, but for me personally it's a big factor, and honestly, if it works good competitively, let's be realistic here, it's going to work good in a social environment because it's balanced. Everything's good to go. There's not much you have to worry about other than have fun on a map that's supposed to be good. And even on the bigger maps, like that big Aztec kind of jungle map, even on that map, I had a blast, and I'm not a big fan of big maps. I'm just not. Like, period, hands down, no matter what game it is. If it's a FPS, I don't like playing on a big map. So the fact that I was having fun on a map that was that big is definitely saying something by itself. The other big point is the map coloration and the saturation. And there's also two subsections within this. The first being, people, when they play the game, they want to enjoy their experience, and that's not just in the form of good gameplay. I mean, things need to look good. The action needs to look good. The scenery needs to look good. And, one of the big things for me, like I said before, is the saturation and the color depth, the vibrancy of the colors. And, the one thing I liked about Treyarch games, and I know this isn't made by Treyarch, but I'm making a point, is the one thing I liked about Treyarch games is that their map designs were always just really colorful, they were vibrant, things looked really good on their maps. As well, and Treyarch, as well, did have very good map design. So, seeing that this game has both of the things that really matter to me, and I think are good for, both me and other people, is just really great. Seeing that, just in the first couple of hours of me playing the game, it really is blowing my mind, because I didn't have, very high hopes for the Call of Duty series anymore, but this is changing my mind. This, Sledgehammer did a very good job. So with that being said, we're going to move on to the weapons. Now, there are also two sections in the weapons that I'd like to talk about. The first being how good each weapon is, and all that stuff, and I'll talk about more in depth about how I like the weapons, but first we're going to get started on the way that the weapons work. And there is some negativity here, and it's not completely negative, because I like the idea, I like the concept, I think it's a fun, thing that they implemented, and it's a good way to improve the vastness of the variety of weapons. However, I'm not a big fan on the multiple variations of the different weapons. It's just, the reason being is because I'm not a big fan of skill that comes from luck. And I'll explain what I mean by this. The guns have different traits. Each one has different traits. We know that. There's always going to be one or two of those that are just, hands down, bar none, better than the rest. So you're going to have some variants that are just fantastic compared to all the rest of them. Now, the fact of the matter is I'm not sure whether you get them by challenges or what, but if it is by just luck, then you're really leaving it up to, hey, the person, even if someone's not, as good, or even if someone's better than the person wielding that gun, they might still come out on top just because they have better equipment that they acquired by chance. and I'm just not a big fan of that. I'm not sure if that's how it works. I've asked around, and no one seems to know, for sure, and I can't find anywhere, I don't know if I'm just looking in the wrong spot, but I can't find anywhere where, like, challenges unlock these different variations. It just seems like during the middle of games, you get a supply drop, you open it, there's some random stuff inside, and boom, you got some new stuff, And that's great, you get some fun new stuff, and hey, party. But and when it comes into the gameplay of it can get really frustrating when, you don't, if someone's just unlucky, if someone just doesn't have the kind of luck that someone else does to get that kind of weapon, and they're just getting destroyed by it, and they can't do anything about it. You can't achieve that other variation without actually, playing the game and getting supply drops and all those things. So that's how I feel about that. I really hope that's not the case, and I really do hope I'm wrong here. I don't know if I am, and I do hope I'm wrong, because it just, that particular aspect of it does not sit well with me. Other than that, it's a great idea, and I really like the way that they're implementing new ideas into this game. It's really great. So second, we're going to talk about the weapons and class section. So in terms of assault, I really like the assault weapons. There's only one that I'm just, it's usable. All of the assault weapons are usable. Let me first say that. All of the assault weapons are usable, which means that, the game has a good chance of versatility in weaponry. You have a nice variety of weapons to choose from, because they're all really usable, and you can potentially do well with all of them. Now, that's not to say that some are worse than others. There's of course some that are worse than others, and as a matter of fact, my least favorite rifle in the assault rifle class is the ARX. Now, I'm a really big burst rifle fan, and oh yeah, watch this real quick. I'm sorry to interrupt here, but I was like, wow, what are you doing there, buddy? But I'm a really big burst rifle fan, and I was excited to see, hey, there's 2 burst rifles. I didn't even know that. I thought the IMR was the only burst rifle. So seeing that the ARX was a burst rifle, I was like, well, fantastic, But the thing is it doesn't one burst very often. Now, I'm not saying that a burst rifle needs to one burst all the time, or, hey, it's not a burst rifle, just go sit in the corner somewhere. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the fire rate is it's not really slow, but it's slow enough on that particular gun that it doesn't make up for the lack of one bursting. Now, there's a good balance, and the IMR has it. That's why I made that class video. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. But the IMR has a good balance between the fire rate and the damage output. It doesn't one burst. It very rarely ever one burst. As a matter of fact, I don't think it can one burst unless the person is somewhat weak. So the fact that it can shoot, it's basically like the M8, if you can imagine that. It's like the M8 or the Type 95 from Modern Warfare 3. It's like those kind of guns. So if you can imagine that, it shoots like that because it doesn't have the one burst, effect. And that's reasonable because it compensates for its lack of one bursting damage. And that's what I like. And that's what I like to see. But the ARX just doesn't seem to have that. Everything else works great. The BAL, I made that class video. You know how I feel about that gun. It can pretty much be used in any situation. There's very rarely been a gun, especially an assault rifle, that can be used with such variation. You can use it long range if you have a foregrip. You can use it up close, and you can literally compete with SMGs. It is a very, very good gun. And you can use it mid-range. You can use it anywhere. Of course, it's not going to be the best at some longer ranges. I did say I was going to speak about the AK-47. I'm sorry, the AK-12. I keep calling it that. I did say I was going to speak about that and some of the other classes that I did, or the other weapons that I didn't put in this, and I will have a video up on that. But the AK-12 is probably the best assault rifle that I didn't include in there for slaying and things like that. So in terms of like one particular advantage or one particular scenario, there are better guns than the BAL and the IMR. However, for their particular class sets and how I envision them being used, that's how good they are, and that's where they should be. So moving on to the SMGs. Now, I have used nearly all the SMGs, and again, the same situation presents itself. They are all usable. All of them have the potential to do really well, but there are 2 that really stand out for me, and one that really caught my eye and that I really like. So the 2 that I'm thinking of are the ASM-1 and the MP11. Now, I am a huge fan of classic guns, so, needless to say, there was a little bit of nostalgia with the ASM-1, which is, very similar to an old school Tommy gun or something like that, or a typewriter or something like that. So, I had a lot of fun using that gun. I still have a lot of fun using that gun, but The MP11, which I at first did not give a good chance, I really did discount this as being a very good weapon until someone in my stream wanted to see it, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to give it a good old college try. So I ended up using it, and it was really hard to use at first, but then I got a grip on it, and it was like, wow, there's no recoil on this. I mean, there's really no recoil on this. So I started using it more, then I got a red dot. After I got the red dot, as many of you know, if you watch my other class video, I'm not an iron sights person, so my real opinion doesn't really shine until I put a sight on it. That's just how I am. I cannot take an honest-to-goodness opinion unless it's got a sight. So I started using it, and you actually see me use it in this video. I think you might have seen it in the other video, or in the other gameplay I just played. You might see it in this gameplay for a little bit, but the MP11 is so good. It's ridiculous. And honestly, it's one of my favorite SMGs that I've ever used. I'm not really an SMG person, but in terms of overall SMGs, this one is super fun. It's basically like a weaker version of an MP7 with an MP7 iron sight, except the iron sight for this particular one isn't just not that good. And I think that it actually is a variant of the MP7 because it's an MP11. Now, I don't know if there's any relationship between that, but, you know, it just in terms of, you know, common knowledge and just, you know, general thinking, I would think that makes it a variant, but I'm not 100% sure. Either way, it's fantastic. Now, I haven't used many shotguns. I'm going to move on to shotguns here. I thought this was a pretty slick move. I was like, yeah, see you later, buddy. But I haven't used many shotguns, but I have picked up a lot of them on the ground. And even the ones I pick up, they're just other people's shotguns. They all perform differently. But I gotta say, the shotguns are they're just so good. It's ridiculous how good all the weapons are. It seems like everything's balanced, which is very strange. And, you know, I've come to the manner of thinking where, you know, Call of Duty games are just unbalanced. There's a lot of guns in them. You know, there's a lot of guns in a Call of Duty game usually. And sometimes it's just like, hey, there's like one or two that are good. Take Black Ops 1 for example. Now that's not a good example, but that is an example nonetheless, where, you know, towards the middle and end of the game, the FAMAS was the only thing that was used. I mean, the AK-74U was used, but then they had that update, and then after that, the FAMAS was used because you can use the FAMAS from essentially any range. And there was no versatility, there was no variation, and that just made for really boring and stagnant gameplay. So in terms of the variation in guns in this, I think you can really use all of these guns really well. Of course, there's some that stand out better than others, especially some that stand out in certain situations, like, you know, essentially just long range or just close range. There are some that are better than others, of course. But it just seems like you can use all of them, and it really varies based on your preference and your playstyle, and even what game mode you're playing sometimes, what map you play on, and that's how it really should be, and that's why I'm so impressed. Now, like I said, you know, keep in mind this entire time, I am not just a diehard Call of Duty fan. I was under the impression that Call of Duty, despite its popularity, in my mind, was a dying series. And not to be negative, but just like, you know, in my opinion, it's just something that I didn't have fun playing anymore. It wasn't something, you know, back when I was a kid, when I played COD 4 and played Modern Warfare 2 and just had an absolute blast. Like, they were just the best games in the world. It just kind of lost that, you know, it lost its luster, and yeah, I'm happy to say that this game seems to be bringing it back so far. I'm really enjoying it, and it really is fantastic. Now I'm going to get into two more things. I want to talk about the snipers for a little bit. I haven't used many of them. I haven't used or haven't gotten much experience with snipers in this game yet. But I do want to speak about them for a short amount of time. And then I'm going to talk about the movement and something my friend said. So basically with the snipers, I've only used one. It's the default one. I think it's like the MOL or something like that. But that gun is... It is good. It does one shot. It's good. However, excuse me. However... it's not that I'm having a difficult time with sniping, and I realize that the sniping in this game is supposed to be more difficult. It's not that. It's just that there's something strange about the way the snipers are. And it's not bad. It's just, I think it's different, and I need to get used to it. There's a lot of instances where I'll be aiming directly at someone, and I mean literally hard scoping them, and I shoot, and it doesn't do anything. It just like goes right through them like they're a ghost or something. And I don't know whether I'm doing something wrong or whether there's a connection issue, but it happens a lot. It happens with pretty much, I picked up a few snipers, and it seems to happen on all of them. Not some more, some less than others, but then again, that could just be connection variation, and I don't want to base anything conclusive on that. So, you know, that's just that's really all I have to say about the snipers. I like the way the snipers are. I like that it's not, you know, there's that, you know, a lot of people will probably disagree with me, but I like the fact that quick scoping's out of the game. It's pretty much like Call of Duty 4. Call of Duty 4 probably had the most skillful Call of Duty 4 probably had the most skillful sniping, because of the fact that there was no quick scoping. The scoping and the quick scoping all came from just the raw sniper itself. You know, there was lead in that game. There wasn't, you know, it wasn't hit scan in that game. So it was kind of impressive to have a good sniping skill. And I think that same theory and that same mindset will apply with this game with sniping. So let me real quick before this gameplay runs out talk about the movement. I have never played a Call of Duty game, or any game for that matter, that has this kind of movement. It's, and I know I use this word a lot, but versatile movement. I mean, you get everywhere. You can literally go pretty much anywhere you want. You really frees you up in terms of, you know, your maneuverability, and I really feel like it has a very good place in competitive. It makes the game fast-paced. It increases the skill level you need to play the game, because people are moving a lot faster. People are moving all over the place. They're jumping up and down, left and right. They're up on different ledges. You know, it's not just, hey, I can look at this spot and you know, and I've got this area locked down. In this game, that is probably in most situations not the case. And you know, with spawn trapping, even though spawn trapping is still a thing in this game, you know, I've been spawn trapped a couple times. If you have a good team and they know how to do their exo movements, there's an extremely good chance that you can get out of that. It's not anywhere like other Call of Duties where if you get spawn trapped, you are absolutely done for. So it's not like that at all. And I'm really enjoying the way the movement is in this game. It's really making it a different game. It's making it a lot more enjoyable for me. I really enjoy the more fast-paced gameplay. I mean, I didn't think Call of Duty could get more fast-paced, but the movement in this definitely makes that so. So let me lastly here finish off with what my friend said. If any of you guys are playing this game and you feel like you're having a hard way to go, you just have to have a different mindset about this game. This is not like any other Call of Duty we've played before. It might have the name Call of Duty, but it doesn't really feel like Call of Duty in terms of the movement that you have, in terms of the way that the game plays. There's even a little bit of lead in this game that I've found. It's very, very subtle, but I feel like there's a little teeny bit of lead that you need to lead your shots a teeny bit. And we haven't seen that since COD 4, as far as I know, right? Am I mistaken in saying that? I mean, we haven't seen leading shots since COD 4. So naturally, I think for a lot of people, this is going to feel like an alien kind of game. It's not going to feel natural. It's not going to feel like something they're used to, because it's not. Especially for someone who didn't have the time to relish in you know, the good times of Call of Duty 4, and well, that was the only one that had lead. But you know, the older Call of Duties. Well, actually, further back they had lead too. But I'm figuring most people played, you know, COD 4. That's kind of where they got their start. Most people. So with that being said, you know, my friend said he didn't like the game, he didn't like the way it was moving, it's really difficult, and this game is a teeny bit more difficult. You know, they take more bullets to die with most of the guns, the movement makes them harder to hit, and it's going to take a little bit of time to get used to. It's going to take a higher skill level to get used to, but once we've all acclimated to the game, and once we all come out of this and we're all used to it, I really think everyone's going to be more skillful, and it's going to be for the better. Everyone's going to have a much better time, and honestly, with this game being the stepping stone, I really can't wait to see where the Call of Duty series goes from here on out. With that being said, guys, this is the end of the discussion video. I want you to drop comments down below and let me know what you think about what I just said. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with anything that I said? Do you disagree with anything I said? I really want to know, because I want to start a discussion here. I want you guys to tell me what you think. And I'm sorry this is a little bit longer, but I said it was going to be in-depth, and I tried to make it as in-depth as possible. So hopefully you enjoyed, and rate the video what you think it deserved. If you'd like to become a Sage in Training, make sure you subscribe today. This has been Mr. Bazy, your favorite Sage, and I'll see you guys in the next video.